Her suitcase sat by the door unzipped like she'd packed in a rush. But it was the bank statement in her desk drawer that gutted me: a secret account, $100,000, and a name I'd trusted for decades. If this story moved, you don't forget to drop a comment, and subscribe to Revenge Forge for more unforgettable stories that speak to the heart. I'm Marcus Allenby, 37, a senior wealth advisor at a financial firm in Boulder, Colorado. My life was a tight balance sheet, secure, prosperous, damn near flawless. My wife, Leah, 30, was a live wire, sharp-tongued, with a laugh that could charm a boardroom and curves that stopped time. We met 7 years ago at a Denver charity gala. I was managing high net worth portfolios. She was pitching event sponsorships, her energy a spark. By midnight, we were sharing bourbon on a balcony, trading stories about bad trades and bold dreams. 2 years later, we married in a mountain lodge, her vows soft against the alpine breeze, promising a life of loyalty. Our modern home in Boulder's Mapleton Hill was our fortress. Polished concrete floors, floor-to-ceiling windows, a deck where we'd sip wine and plan our future. I earned $210,000 a year steering portfolios for a firm pulling in $120 million annually. Leah ran a boutique event planning business, her flair landing clients from tech startups to ski resorts. We were a machine, me the numbers behind the wealth, her the charisma that sold it. Weekends were for hiking in Chautauqua Park, hitting breweries in Pearl Street, or just us tangled in bed sketching plans for a cabin in Aspen. But even the best ledgers hide errors. It started quiet, like a misplaced entry. 5 months ago, Leah suggested a getaway to Santa Fe, New Mexico. Just us, Marcus, she said, her green eyes glinting over a glass of Chardonnay. Let's reignite that spark. I was all in. Work had been relentless and our schedules were a grind. A romantic trip felt like a reset. I booked flights, reserved a hacienda-style inn near the plaza, and splurged on a private art tour. Leah handled the itinerary, or so she claimed. I trusted her. Why wouldn't I? The first twist hit at the Denver airport. As we checked in, Leah's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, smiled, and said, "Oh, my crew's tagging along." Crew. My gut tightened. What crew? I asked, keeping my tone light. She laughed, brushing her dark hair back. You know Jenna, Tara, and Claire. They've been dying for a Southwest vibe, and I thought it'd be fun to mix it up. My chest sank. This was our escape. But I swallowed the irritation. Leah was social, she thrived on her friends. I didn't want to be the jealous type, so I nodded, forced a grin, and boarded the plane. In Santa Fe, the vibe shifted. Jenna, Tara, and Claire were waiting at baggage claim, all hugs and squeals. They were friendly enough, but their energy was sharp. Jenna, a wedding planner with a quick wit, smirked at me. "Marcus, you actually took a break. Leah said you're glued to your laptop." The others giggled. I brushed it off, but it stung. Leah didn't correct her. She just linked arms with Tara and strutted toward the exit, leaving me to grab the bags. At the inn, the second twist landed like a punch. The host handed out keys, 3 suites, 4 women and me. "Mr. Allenby, you're in the East Wing," she said. I blinked, and my wife Leah cut in all breezy. "I'm bunking with Jenna and Claire, babe. Girls' night vibe. You know you'll love the space. Space alone." Tara smirked, muttering, "Hope you don't mind, Marcus." The group laughed, and Leah didn't even glance my way. I felt like a stranger in my own marriage. That night, alone in my suite, I stared at the ceiling, the sound of mariachi music drifting from the plaza. Was this a Reddit story I'd stumbled into, or was I overreacting? Leah's friends had always been part of our life, but this felt off. Their jabs weren't playful, they were pointed. And Leah, she was distant, her warmth reserved for them. I scrolled through my phone, the knot in my gut tightening. Doubt was creeping in and trust was slipping. The next morning, over breakfast at a sunlit cafe, the third twist hit. Claire waved her phone, showing photos from a tequila bar they'd hit after I'd gone to bed. Leah was in every shot, glowing, her arm around a guy I didn't know. "Who's that?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. Leah glanced at the photo and shrugged. "Just some friend of Jenna's. No big deal." But her eyes darted away and Claire's smirk grew. I didn't push, not yet. I knew from online forums that confronting without proof was a dead end. By day 2, the pattern was clear. Leah and her friends treated me like baggage. They planned gallery tours, spa days, and late-night bars, all charged to my card. I'd agreed to cover our trip, but now I was bankrolling 5. My banking app showed $3,200 in charges, restaurants, cocktails, even a boutique dress Leah bought with Tara. She hadn't asked. She hadn't even mentioned it. The fourth twist came that evening on the art tour I'd booked for us. I'd pictured Leah and me strolling through galleries, rekindling our fire. Instead, I was trailing her friends who barely acknowledged me. Leah stood across the room, but her focus was on Jenna, whispering and laughing. Then I saw a text notification on her phone face up on a display table. From Edgar. Last night was electric. Tomorrow, my heart stopped. Last night, when she was at that tequila bar, I glanced at Leah, but she didn't notice. She was too busy giggling with Claire. I didn't sleep. At 3 a.m., I logged into our joint credit card account. The charges weren't just from Santa Fe. There were dinners and Boulder hotel stays I didn't know about and a $500 Zelle payment to E. Whitlow. Edgar Whitlow. My mind raced. Was this an affair or something else? I checked Leah's Instagram stories from her client dinners. The locations matched the charges. And in one blurry background, I spotted him, Edgar, the guy from Claire's photo, leaning close to my wife. The fifth twist was my breaking point. The next day, Leah announced they were extending the trip 3 days. "We're having a blast, Marcus. You're cool with it, right?" Her tone was sweet, but her eyes were cold. Jenna chimed in. "Yeah, don't be a buzzkill, Marcus." I looked at Leah, waiting for her to stand up for me. She didn't. That's when I knew this wasn't just a botched getaway. It was betrayal. I didn't argue. I didn't shout. I walked away, pulled out my phone, and froze every credit card in my name. Then I called the inn and canceled all pending charges for their suites. If Leah wanted to play this game, she'd play without my money. By noon, I got a frantic text from her, "Marcus, the card's not working, fix it." I didn't reply. I was done being her ATM. The Santa Fe sun burned hotter that afternoon, or maybe it was the fire in my chest. I sat in a cafe across from the inn, sipping black coffee, watching the chaos unfold. Leah's texts escalated, confused, then desperate, then furious. "Marcus, this isn't a game. The inn's holding our stuff. Where are you?" I stayed silent. For the first time in years, I wasn't rushing to fix her mess. This wasn't just a trip gone wrong. It was the start of a reckoning. By 2 p.m., I saw them, Leah, Jenna, Tara, and Claire, spilling out of the inn's courtyard, arms flailing. Jenna was on her phone, likely scrambling to fix the declined cards. Leah's face was pale, her usual confidence replaced by panic. Good. Let her feel the ground shift. I'd spent years building our life, funding her dreams, believing in her love. Now I was done playing the fool. I wasn't heartless, though. I hadn't touched our joint savings or her personal accounts. She had enough to survive if she could figure it out. But the credit cards, those were mine, and I wasn't bankrolling her friend's party while she texted Edgar about their electric nights. That text last night was electric, gnawed at me. Who was he? How long had this been going on? I needed answers, but not from her. Not yet. I opened my laptop and dug deeper. Our bank's transaction history painted a trail of lies. A $400 dinner at a Boulder steakhouse 3 weeks ago, when she'd claimed a team meeting. A $300 spa charge 2 months back on a weekend she'd said she was visiting her sister. And that $500 Zelle to Edgar. It wasn't a one-off. Smaller payments, $60, $90, stretched back 6 months. My hands trembled as I saved everything. This wasn't just a fleeting affair. It was a calculated double life. I checked our shared iCloud synced to our home tablet. I'd never snooped before, never needed to. Now I entered her password, our wedding date, painfully ironic. Her photo backups loaded, and there he was. Edgar, smirking in a selfie with Leah at a rooftop bar, her head tilted against his shoulder. Another shot them laughing at a concert, her hand on his chest. The dates matched the charges. My throat tightened. This wasn't just a suspicion, it was a betrayal laid bare. The sixth twist came when I found their messages. Not the full thread, Leah wasn't that careless, but enough. A screenshot of a text from Edgar Santa Fe's, perfect. "Tell Marcus it's a girls' trip. He'll buy it." My blood froze. She'd planned this. Invited her friends as a cover. Used me as a wallet while she played lover with him. This wasn't just infidelity, it was a heist of my trust. I could have confronted her then. Stormed across the street, shown her the screenshots, demanded the truth. But rage doesn't win in a game like this. Strategy does. I closed my laptop, paid for my coffee, and walked to an ATM. I withdrew $1,000 in cash for me, not her, a safety net. Then I called my brother Derek, a lawyer in Fort Collins. "Marcus, what's wrong?" he asked, sensing my tone. I laid it out: the trip, the texts, the charges. Edgar. He didn't hesitate. Lock everything down. Change passwords, secure your accounts, and don't let her spin this. I'll draft a separation agreement today. Derek's words grounded me. I wasn't just a husband in a Reddit story. I was a man reclaiming his life. I spent the next hour fortifying my digital world, new passwords for my email, bank, and investment accounts. I even removed Leah's access to our home security system. If she wanted back into our Boulder home, she'd have to face me first. By evening, the seventh twist hit. I got a call from an unknown number. Marcus. It's Claire. Leah's friend, the quiet one who hadn't mocked me as much. Her voice was shaky. I didn't know it was this bad. Leah's freaking out. The inn's holding our bags and Jenna and Tara ditched her. I feel awful. I thought it was just a fun trip. I stayed silent, letting her talk. She's been weird. Talking about some guy, Edgar. I didn't think it was serious, but now... I'm sorry, Marcus. You didn't deserve this. Claire's confession wasn't absolution, but it was clarity. Even her friends saw Leah's game. Thanks for telling me, I said, keeping my tone even. What's she doing now? Claire sighed. She's trying to call her brother, but he's not picking up. She's stuck. I ended the call, my mind racing. Leah's brother Owen was a hothead who'd never liked me. If she was desperate enough to call him, she was out of moves. I didn't return to the inn. Instead, I checked into a small hotel a mile away, paid in cash. My phone buzzed with voicemails from Leah 567. I didn't listen, not because I couldn't handle it, but because I needed to stay sharp. This wasn't just a moment of weakness, it was a war for my dignity. The next morning, I sat in my hotel room, the Santa Fe skyline glinting outside, my resolve hardening. Leah's betrayal wasn't just a personal wound. It was a calculated strike. But I wasn't down yet. I had one move left before I decided my next step, and it started with finding out who Edgar Whitlow really was. The Santa Fe skyline burned under the morning sun as I sat in my hotel room, Claire's confession ringing in my ears. My wife Leah wasn't just cheating. She'd woven a double life with Edgar Whitlow, turning our getaway into a stage for her betrayal. The home we'd built, the vows we'd sworn, the dreams we'd shared, it was all a lie. I poured a black coffee, its bitter edge sharpening my focus, and opened my laptop. The back door to our firm's financial database glowed like a hidden blade. One command could freeze every portfolio, every client contract, leaving Leah and Edgar with nothing to exploit. But I wasn't ready to strike. I needed to unravel every strand of their conspiracy: Claire, Edgar, Leah, and whoever else was pulling the strings. I called Tara at 6 a.m., her voice crisp despite the hour. Claire talked, I said, keeping my tone low. Leah's been planning this with Edgar. I need more: his role, his leverage, any other players. Tara didn't flinch. Got it, Marcus. Give me 48 hours. While she dug, I reached out to Jenna, a former wealth analyst at our firm who'd left a year ago after Leah outshined her in a client pitch. Jenna was 35, sharp and no-nonsense, with a knack for spotting financial deception. We met at a cafe near the plaza, the smell of chiles and coffee thick in the air. I handed her a USB drive with Tara's initial evidence, photos of Leah and Edgar's Zelle payments to E. Whitlow, texts tying him to the affair. They're not just sneaking around, I said. They're up to something bigger. I need to know what. Jenna's eyes narrowed as she scanned the files. Leah's always been a schemer, she said, her voice low. She pushed me out when I questioned her expense reports. But Edgar, that's a new low. There's more, I said. They're using firm resources. I found charges on my card, $3,200 in Santa Fe alone. I think they're skimming or worse. Jenna leaned back, her coffee cooling. I've got a contact in your firm's compliance team. Let me dig. By noon, Jenna texted back. Edgar wasn't just a fling. He was a senior portfolio manager at our firm, hired 6 months ago, and had been partnering with Leah on major client accounts. They were pitching a new wealth optimization strategy, my strategy, the one I'd spent years refining, to a rival firm in Denver, Apex Capital, for $3.8 million. The meeting was set for tomorrow at the Brown Palace Hotel. But Jenna's contact dropped a twist. Edgar was working a side deal. If Apex passed, he had a backup buyer, a private investment group in Aspen, ready to pay $3 million, no questions asked. Leah didn't know about it. Edgar was double-crossing her. I dove into Edgar's digital trail, using the back door to access his firm email. His security was laughable: predictable passwords, no two-factor. I found a thread with a name I didn't expect: Diane Kessler, 41, our chief financial officer. She'd always been reserved all budgets and no charm, but her emails to Edgar were cold and precise. Keep Allenby out. Apex is the priority, but Aspen's our fallback. Leah's too emotional, she'll crack. Edgar's reply: Don't worry, Diane. She's under control. Diane, the CFO, in on the heist. My chest tightened. This wasn't just an affair or a theft, it was a corporate conspiracy. I sent the emails to Jenna, who cursed over the phone. Diane's been shady forever, she said. She's got her hands in every financial report. This is her cash out. What's her angle? I asked, pacing the hotel room, the desert air a steady hum outside. Money, Jenna said. She's got a divorce settlement bleeding her dry, alimony legal fees. Selling your strategy clears her debts and funds her exit. I needed more. I called Tara. Look into Diane Kessler, CFO. She's working with Edgar and Leah. Tara let out a low whistle. This is a snake pit, Marcus. I'll need time. Make it fast, I said. They're pitching tomorrow. That night, Leah's texts shifted from fury to desperation. Marcus, please. I'm stuck. The inn's holding my stuff and I don't know what to do. I didn't reply. She tried calling 3 times, then 5. I let it go to voicemail. Back in Boulder, if she'd returned, she'd find the locks changed, a precaution I'd taken with Derek's advice. She'd have to face the consequences of her choices. I didn't sleep. I worked tightening the tracking script I'd planted. Every email, every file Leah and Edgar touched, I saw. By 4 a.m. I had their pitch deck, my wealth strategy, repackaged with Leah's visuals and Edgar's spin. They'd even mocked up a new brand, Whitlow Wealth Solutions. My work, their name. Then Tara called, her voice urgent. Got something on Diane. She's not just in on it, she's been skimming from the firm for years. $700,000 funneled to a shell account in the Caymans. Edgar's her front, but Leah's clueless about the scope. I gripped my desk, the desert a steady hum outside. What about Claire? She's deeper than you thought, Tara said. She's been feeding Diane intel on your projects. Emails show she's getting a 5% cut of the Aspen deal. But here's the twist, she's also been talking to a lawyer planning to leak the deal to the SEC if Edgar and Leah don't pay her more. Claire not just a bystander, but a double-crosser. My stomach churned, but I pushed it down. Send me everything, I said. Tara did, and there it was, Claire's emails to a lawyer outlining a plan to expose the deal for a bigger payout. She wasn't just along for the ride, she was playing them all. I met Jenna at her hotel, a rustic spot with adobe walls and a Kiva fireplace. Claire's planning to screw them over, I said, showing her the emails. She's working with Diane, but she's got her own exit. Jenna's jaw tightened. Your wife's friend is a piece of work. What's the plan? We don't freeze the system, I said. We expose them at Apex's meeting, all of them. The next morning I flew to Denver, Jenna at my side. Leah stayed in Santa Fe, likely scrambling to fix her mess. She thought I was in Boulder, buried in spreadsheets. The Brown Palace Hotel was all grandeur and old money, the kind of place Leah owned with her charm. She'd arrived in Denver, her emerald dress catching every eye, her smile a weapon. Edgar stood beside her, his suit tailored, his grin smug. Diane was there too, her presence quiet but commanding, her eyes scanning the room. The Apex exec's 3 suits with cold gazes sat at a mahogany table sipping martinis. I slipped in, Jenna blending into the crowd of financial pros. We'd hacked the guest list, posing as consultants. Leah's pitch was flawless. Our strategy redefines wealth management, efficient, scalable hours. Edgar chimed in, all charm, with your investment will dominate the West. My strategy. They're lies. I stood, my voice slicing through the buzz. Before you sign, you should know the truth. Leah's eyes locked on mine, her face paling. Edgar's smile vanished. Diane's hand froze on her glass. Marcus, Leah said, her voice tight. This isn't the time. It's exactly the time, I said, plugging my laptop into the projector. The screen lit up, emails between Leah, Edgar, and Diane plotting to sell my strategy. Bank records of Diane's $700,000 theft. Claire's texts tying her to the scheme. And a wire transfer, Claire to Diane, $10,000 labeled consulting fee. The room went silent. One of the Apex execs, a man with a gray beard, leaned forward. Explain this, Miss Allenby. Leah stammered, her charm crumbling. It's a misunderstanding. Marcus is upset. Personal issues. No, I said, my voice steel. You stole my work. Diane's been skimming $700,000. Edgar's your front man. And Claire, she's planning to leak this deal to the SEC for a bigger cut. Edgar tried to interrupt. This is absurd. Absurd! I cut in, clicking to the next slide. Claire's lawyer emails Diane's Cayman's account. You built your pitch on my strategy. You're done. The gray-bearded exec stood his face hard. We don't deal with liars. He nodded to his team and they walked out, their martinis untouched. Leah's eyes filled with tears, but I felt nothing. Edgar grabbed his jacket, muttering excuses. Diane slipped out, her composure cracking. I didn't stay to gloat. I walked out, Jenna behind me, the Denver heat heavy on my skin, but there was one more twist. As I reached my car, Claire was waiting, her face pale, her hands shaking. Marcus, we need to talk. You're out of chances, I said, my voice cold. It's not what you think, she said, her voice breaking. Diane forced me. She's got dirt on me, bad debts, a failed boutique. I didn't want to hurt you. I stared at her, the friend who'd stood by Leah, the woman who'd sold me out. You chose this, I said. Own it. She reached for me, but I stepped back. Marcus, please. Stay away, I said, getting into my car. As I drove off, my phone buzzed. Tara, Diane's making a move. She's meeting the Aspen buyer tomorrow. Leah's out, but Claire's going with her. The game wasn't over. They weren't done. Neither was I. But the twists kept coming. Back in Boulder, I found a note slipped under my door, handwritten, no signature, check her cloud backups. You're not the only one she's playing. My pulse spiked. I logged into our shared iCloud again, digging deeper than before. Hidden in a folder labeled Work, I found a spreadsheet, Leah's secret account, not the one I'd seen but another. $100,000 deposited in increments over 6 months, labeled consulting fees. The payee, a shell company tied to Edgar's personal LLC. My stomach churned. Leah wasn't just stealing my work, she was siphoning money, using her business as a front. I called Derek, my brother. Leah's got a hidden account, I said, forwarding the spreadsheet. $100,000 tied to Edgar. What can we do? Derek's voice was grim. Freeze it. I'll file an injunction to lock her assets. We'll hit them where it hurts. I nodded, my resolve hardening. This wasn't just about trust anymore, it was about justice. The next day I met Jenna at a brewery in Lodo, the smell of hops grounding me. Leah's been skimming, I said, showing her the spreadsheet. Edgar's her funnel, but Diane's the architect. Jenna's eyes widened. This is bigger than we thought, she said. Diane's been using Leah to launder firm funds. Your strategy was just the bait to draw in buyers. I leaned back, the brewery's hum fading. What's Leah's endgame, I asked. She thinks she's getting out, Jenna said. Edgar's promised her a cut, probably a lie. Diane's using them both to cover her tracks. I didn't trust Leah's tears anymore, but I needed to know her next move. I called Tara. Track Leah's travel, I said. She's not in Santa Fe anymore. Find her. Tara was on it, but she had another bombshell. Edgar's been meeting with a lawyer too, she said. He's planning to cut Leah out of the Aspen deal. He's got a new partner, someone outside the firm. Who, I asked, my voice tight. Not sure yet, Tara said, but they're moving fast. I spent the afternoon fortifying my position. Derek filed the injunction locking Leah's secret account. I changed every password again, even for my personal investments. I wasn't just protecting my money, I was protecting my future. That night I got a call from Owen, Leah's brother. His voice was gruff, defensive. What the hell, Marcus, Leah's a wreck. You froze her cards, her accounts. What's your deal? She's been stealing from me, I said, my tone cold. $100,000, Owen. She's been lying to us both. He went quiet, then cursed. I didn't know he said. She told me it was just stress. I'll talk to her. I didn't trust him, but his shock sounded real. Maybe Leah had played her family too. The next twist hit like a freight train. Tara texted me a photo, Leah in Denver checking into a hotel with a man I didn't recognize. Not Edgar. Older, slick, with a Rolex glinting on his wrist. Who's this? I texted back. Tara's reply was swift. Nathan Holt. Hedge fund guy, big player in Aspen. He's the new partner in Edgar's side deal. My blood ran cold. Leah wasn't just a pawn, she was playing her own game, hedging her bets with a new player. I called Jenna. Leah's with Nathan Holt, I said. He's Edgar's new partner, she's double-crossing him. Jenna whistled. She's playing with fire, she said. Holt's got a reputation, ruthless, connected. If Edgar finds out, she's toast. I didn't care about Leah's safety anymore, but I needed to know Holt's role. I spent the night digging, using the back door to cross-reference Holt's transactions with our firm's database. He'd been funneling money to Diane's shell account, $200,000 over 3 months. The web was bigger than I'd thought. Diane wasn't just skimming, she was laundering with Holt as her silent partner. The next morning I got a call from Claire, her voice panicked. Marcus, Leah's in trouble. She called me last night crying, said she's in over her head with some guy Nathan, I think. She's scared. I stayed silent, letting her ramble. She didn't say much, just that she needs money. I told her to come home, but she hung up. I didn't feel pity, just resolve. Thanks, Claire, I said, hanging up. Leah's fear was her own making. I met Derek at his office, laying out the new evidence: Holt's payments, Leah's hotel check-in, Claire's call. We've got enough for a fraud suit, he said. Against Diane, Edgar, maybe Holt. But Leah, she's slippery. We need her on record. I nodded, my plan forming. Then we bait her, I said. Let her think I'm backing off, she'll slip up. That afternoon I texted Leah. We need to talk. No games. Come home. She didn't reply, but Tara tracked her phone to a Denver airport, boarding a flight to Aspen. She was running to Holt, thinking he was her way out. I wasn't chasing her, not yet. I needed her to feel safe to make her next move. The final twist of the day came from an unexpected source. I got an email, anonymous, with a single attachment, a voice recording. I played it, my pulse spiking. It was Leah talking to Holt in a hotel room. Edgar's out, she said, her voice low. He's too greedy. You and I can take the Aspen deal, split it 50-50. Holt's voice was smooth, cold. And your husband? He's sniffing around. Leah laughed, a sound that cut like glass. Marcus. He's all numbers, no spine, he'll fold. The recording cut off, leaving me in silence. I saved the file, my hands steady. Leah thought I'd fold. She was wrong. This wasn't just a cheating story, it was a war, and I was armed. The Denver skyline glowed under the evening haze as I sat in my hotel room, the anonymous recording of Leah and Nathan Holt searing through my mind. My wife wasn't just betraying me with Edgar Whitlow, she was double-crossing him with Holt, plotting to steal my wealth strategy and leave me broken. Diane Kessler, Claire, Edgar, Leah Holt. They'd spun a web of greed to strip me of my work, my trust, my life. But I wasn't caught. I was Marcus Allenby, and I'd turned their lies into a fire that forged something unbreakable. Tara's text about Diane's meeting with the Aspen buyer with Claire in tow was a spark in the storm. They thought they could slip away, but I was closing the trap. I called Tara at 5 a.m., her voice sharp despite the hour. Diane's meeting the Aspen buyer tonight, I said. Some group called Peak Investments. Claire's with her. I need the where, the when, and their pitch. On it, Tara said. Peak's known for buying hot IP, no questions asked. I'll have something by noon. While she worked, I met Jenna at a diner in Lodo, the smell of coffee and bacon grounding me. I showed her Tara's latest file, Diane's Cayman's account. Claire's double-cross plan, the Aspen deal. They've cut Leah out, I said. Diane's running the show now. Jenna's eyes narrowed, her fork pausing mid-bite. Leah's out, that's cold. What's the move? We don't freeze the system, I said, my voice steady. We expose them to Peak. If they lose this, they're done. Jenna grinned fierce. You're a steel blade, Marcus, I'm in. Tara delivered by 11 a.m., texting a location, a private rooftop lounge in Aspen's downtown, 7 p.m. Diane and Claire were pitching my wealth strategy as their own, promising Peak a clean product for $3 million. But Tara had more. Diane's desperate, she said over the phone. She's been dodging IRS audits. That $700,000 she skimmed half, went to settle her divorce, the rest to Peak as a deposit. If this deal fails, she's broke. And Claire, I asked, my jaw tight. She's sinking, Tara said. Diane's got her by the throat, threatened to leak her bad debts to her family if she doesn't play along. But she's still scheming. She's got a burner phone texting a whistleblower about the deal. Claire always scheming to betray her betrayers. I didn't feel pity, just resolve. I called Owen, a former compliance analyst at our firm, pushed out by Diane for flagging budget discrepancies. Owen was 39, quick with data and carrying a grudge to match. We met at his condo, a minimalist space with monitors and craft beer cans. I showed him the evidence, Diane's accounts, Claire's texts, the Aspen pitch. I need you to help me end this, I said. Owen's eyes glinted. Diane ruined my career, I'm all in. We moved fast. Owen hacked into Diane's cloud drive, pulling the final pitch deck, my wealth strategy rebranded with Claire's name plastered on it. Jenna secured us access to the lounge, leveraging a contact from her freelance days. By 5 p.m., we were on a flight to Aspen, the mountains looming below. I wore a suit, my laptop tucked under my arm. Jenna and Owen flanked me, our faces set the Colorado air crisp as we landed. The Aspen rooftop lounge was all glass and starlight, a playground for the elite. Diane was there, her tailored blazer sharp, her smile calculated. Claire stood beside her, her eyes darting, her posture tense. The peak execs, two men in sleek suits, their gazes predatory, sat at a corner table sipping bourbon. Leah was gone, erased like a bad contract. Diane's pitch was smooth, her voice steady. Our strategy is unmatched, secure, scalable, ready for market. Claire nodded, playing the loyal partner, her grin forced. They showcased my strategy, my late nights. My work dressed up as their triumph. I stood, my voice slicing through the hum. Before you buy, gentlemen, you should know the truth. Diane's eyes snapped to mine, her face paling. Claire froze, her glass trembling. The peak execs raised their eyebrows, intrigued. Marcus, Diane said, her voice tight but controlled. This is a private meeting. Not anymore, I said, plugging my laptop into the projector. The screen lit up, emails between Diane and Claire plotting to sell my strategy. Bank records of Diane's $700,000 theft. Claire's burner phone text planning her whistleblower leak, and my project logs time-stamped proving every plan was mine. The room went quiet, the air thick. One of the peak execs, a man with a silver beard, leaned forward. This true, Miss Kessler? Diane stammered, her poise cracking. It's a misunderstanding. Marcus is disgruntled, personal issues. No, I said, my voice steel. You stole my work. Skimmed $700,000 from our firm. Claire's playing you, planning to leak this deal for a bigger cut. Claire's face went white. Marcus, you're wrong. Am I? I cut in, clicking to the next slide, her whistleblower texts clear as day. The peak execs exchanged glances, their faces hardening. Diane tried to salvage it, her voice rising. This is a setup. Marcus is sabotaging us. Sabotaging? I snapped, my tone cold. You built your pitch on my strategy. You're done. The silver-bearded exec stood, his voice low. We don't deal with thieves. He nodded to his partner, and they walked out, their bourbon untouched. Diane's shoulders slumped, her empire crumbling. Claire grabbed her purse, muttering, You'll regret this, Marcus. But her voice was weak, defeated. I didn't linger. I walked out, Jenna and Owen behind me, the Aspen night sharp and cold. Back in Boulder, I found Leah's things gone, her closet bare. A note on the counter. I'm sorry, Marcus. I lost my way. I tore it up to pieces, scattering like ash. But there was one more twist. The next morning, Tara called. Diane's running, she said. She's liquidating firm assets, trying to disappear. But Claire, she's flipped. She's talking to the board, offering to testify against Diane for immunity. I leaned back, the Boulder skyline steady outside. Claire, always the survivor, throwing Diane under the bus to save herself. I didn't call her. I didn't need her version of the truth. Instead, I met Jenna and Owen at the diner, the smell of coffee grounding me. Diane's done, I said, showing them Tara's latest file. She's selling off firm assets to cover her tracks. Jenna grinned fierce. Then we finish her. For good. We didn't freeze the system. We went public. Owen leaked our evidence to the board, the press, even dropping snippets on Reddit stories where finance pros tore into Diane's scheme. The story exploded, trending as a cautionary tale of corporate greed undone. Diane was fired by noon, her reputation in tatters. Claire vanished, likely hiding from her debts. Edgar surfaced in Denver, working a low-level consulting gig, his charm no match for his ruined name. But Leah was still out there with Nathan Holt. Tara tracked her to Aspen, holed up in a condo owned by Holt's hedge fund. I didn't chase her, not yet. I needed to know Holt's endgame. I called Derek, my brother. Holt's the key, I said. He's been funding Diane, playing Leah and Edgar. We need to take him down. Derek was already drafting a fraud suit, his voice steady. We've got enough, he said. Emails, bank records, the recording, we'll hit them all. The next twist came from an unexpected source. I got a call from Leah's brother, Owen. His voice was gruff, apologetic. Marcus, I didn't know how deep this went, he said. Leah called me last night scared. Said some guy Holt is pressuring her to sign over your strategy. She wants out, but she's trapped. I stayed silent, processing. What's she asking for? I said finally. Owen sighed. Help. She knows she's screwed up. She's ready to talk to fix this. I didn't trust Leah, not after her lies, but I saw an opportunity. Tell her to meet me, I said. Tomorrow, Boulder. Neutral ground. Owen agreed, his relief palpable. I hung up, my plan forming. If Leah was willing to talk, I could use her to bury Holt and Edgar for good. The meeting was set for a coffee shop in Pearl Street, a place we'd loved in better days. I arrived early, my laptop ready, Tara's latest file on Holt burning a hole in my pocket. Leah walked in at 10 a.m., her face pale, her eyes tired. She looked smaller, stripped of her usual spark. She sat across from me, her hands trembling around a latte. "Marcus," she said, her voice soft. "I'm sorry. I don't expect forgiveness, but I need your help." "Help," I said, my tone cold. "You stole $100,000, Leah. You sold my work, lied to my face, and ran to Holt. Why should I trust you?" Her eyes welled, but she didn't look away. "Because I'm done running," she said. "Holt's dangerous. He's got me on a leash, threatened to ruin me if I don't deliver your strategy. I didn't know it would go this far." She slid a USB drive across the table. "Everything I have on him. Emails, contracts, bank transfers. It's yours." I didn't touch the drive, not yet. "Why now?" I asked. She swallowed, her voice breaking. "Because I saw you in Denver at the Apex meeting. You didn't just fight, you won." I realized I picked the wrong side. Her words landed, but they didn't soften me. I saw the woman I'd loved, but I also saw the liar who'd called me spineless. "I'll take it," I said, pocketing the drive, "but this doesn't fix us." "You're on your own." She nodded, tears spilling. "I know," she whispered. "Just be careful. Holt's not like Edgar. He doesn't lose." I stood, leaving her there, the coffee shop's hum swallowing her sobs. Back at my loft, I plugged in the drive. Leah wasn't lying. Holt's fingerprints were everywhere. Emails tying him to Diane's laundering scheme, contracts for the Aspen deal, even a memo outlining plans to discredit me if I fought back. It was enough to bury him. I forwarded everything to Derek, who whistled over the phone. "This is dynamite," he said. "We'll file tomorrow. Holt's done." But the game wasn't over. Tara called, her voice tense. "Holt's moving," she said. "He's meeting Edgar tonight, trying to salvage the Aspen deal. Leah's not invited, she's out of the loop." I leaned back, the skyline fading into dusk. Holt and Edgar teaming up to save their skins. I saw my chance where I asked. Tara gave me the location, a private club in Aspen, 9 p.m. I didn't go to Aspen. Instead, I sent Owen armed with a recording device and instructions to blend in. He'd worked security gigs in college. He knew how to stay invisible. By midnight, he sent me the audio. Holt and Edgar plotting to relaunch the deal through a new shell company. "Allenby's a problem," Holt said, his voice smooth. "We discredit him, leak rumors about his portfolios. The market will eat him alive." Edgar laughed, nervous. "What about Leah?" Holt's voice turned cold. "She's a liability. Cut her loose." The recording was gold. I sent it to Derek, who added it to the fraud suit. The next morning, we filed against Holt, Edgar, and Diane, citing theft, fraud, and conspiracy. The evidence, Leah's drive, Owen's recording, Tara's files, was overwhelming. By afternoon, the story broke. Financial firm rocked by fraud scandal, with Holt and Diane's names splashed across headlines. Edgar wasn't mentioned, but his career was toast. Social media lit up, finance pros on Reddit stories calling it a masterclass in betrayal. I stayed out of it, letting the truth do the work. Leah's role stayed quiet per my request. I didn't want her dragged through the mud, not out of mercy but strategy. She'd given me Holt's head on a platter, that was enough. Tara tracked her to a small apartment in Fort Collins, living under her maiden name, working a low-level event gig. Her spark was gone, her dreams of wealth with Holt or Edgar shattered. I didn't contact her. I didn't need to. The firm survived. Jenna and I rebuilt, bringing Owen on as our new compliance lead. We launched a new wealth strategy, my work at its core, no backdoors needed. My salary stayed at $210,000, but the firm's revenue climbed to $130 million, my legacy secure. But the final twist came months later. I was at a brewery in Boulder meeting a client when Leah walked in. She froze, seeing me. Her face gaunt, her eyes tired. She was alone, her dress plain, her posture defeated. For a second, I saw the woman I'd married, the one who'd laughed with me on mountain trails. Then I saw Edgar's texts, Diane's emails, Holt's voice calling her a liability. The moment passed. She approached, her voice soft. "Marcus, can we talk?" I didn't move. "You've said enough," I said, my tone cold. "I know about Fort Collins, the apartment, the lies you spun." Her eyes widened, but she didn't deny it. "I'm sorry," she said, tears welling. "I got lost, Marcus. Edgar. Holt. They made me feel seen. But I know I hurt you. Can we try again for us?" I looked at her, the woman I'd loved, and felt nothing. There is no us, I said. You chose them. You chose lies. Go back to Fort Collins, Leah. Start over. But not with me. I walked out, leaving her standing there, the brewery's hum swallowing her pleas. The divorce was swift. Derek filed citing Leah's infidelity and financial misconduct. The evidence was airtight. Leah didn't fight. I kept the house, my accounts, my life. Leah got nothing but her freedom. Holt and Diane faced federal probes, their empires crumbling. Edgar faded into obscurity, a cautionary tale in finance circles. I rebuilt stronger. I bought that cabin in Aspen not for Leah, but for me. I started mentoring young advisors at the firm, passing on what I'd learned. I even took up painting, a hobby I'd abandoned years ago, sketching the Rockies under starlit skies. The scars remained, but they didn't define me. Months later, I stood on my deck, the Boulder skyline shimmering under a rare, clear sky. My phone buzzed, a client praising our new strategy. I smiled, not for the money, but for the man I'd become. Leah's affair. Claire's betrayal. Diane's greed, Holt's ruthlessness. They'd tried to break me. But I'd forged something greater. So what would you have done? Exposed them like I did, or walked away letting their lies fester? Sometimes I wonder if I should have let Leah go sooner, spared my heart the wounds. Or did I build something stronger by standing my ground? What do you think? You're here because this story meant something. Don't scroll away without leaving a like, a thought, and your subscription. Revenge Forge is where real stories find their voice, and yours.